Hello and welcome back to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel, where of course we're giving you all the latest news, views and opinions on all things Albion. We are back again today for another match preview video. It's West Bromwich Albion versus Blackburn Rovers, which kicks off at 8 o'clock in the EFL Championship at the Hawthorns. A big game for Albion. I mean, yeah. Does it get much bigger than this? And a team in Blackburn who are doing very well this season and have an incredible championship record so far, third in the table as we'll discuss getting into this video. Plenty of stats and facts coming up for you, some predicted lineups, a bit of ones to watch for both sides. Big game for a particular player in the West Brom side as well. We'll also take a little look at the record against Blackburn. And I said some predicted lineups and a bit of analysis as to what we can expect from both sides in this big clash at the Hawthorns. Monday night under the lights. It's been a while, I think, since we've had a Monday night kickoff, if I remember rightly. It's a bit of a weird week having a Wednesday than a Monday kickoff. But yeah, we're looking forward to it nonetheless. Another clash at the Hawthorns. So if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe. If you enjoy the content, if you've seen me before, if you haven't seen me before, make sure you subscribe. It'd be great to get you on board, get you on board with the Baggies Podcast content. There's near enough every couple of days there's a new video here, so yeah, make sure you're getting involved for that. But yeah, let's crack on and talk West Bromwich Albion versus Blackburn. You're watching the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel. For match previews, match day vlogs, match reactions and more, make sure to subscribe to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel. So let's crack on. Starting with the opposition, Blackburn Rovers, of course, doing really well in the Championship this season. That is a bit of an understatement. Done really well so far. Third in the EFL Championship. Winless in 3 games, however, but they're still 2 points off those automatic promotion spots, which are currently occupied by the usual suspects, Fulham and Bournemouth. They are currently in those top 2 spots at the moment. As I said, Blackburn winless in 3 games. Last game was two lost on the bounce so far. Lost against Forest and Swansea, 2-0 and 1-0 respectively. And then a 0 draw with Luton Town coming before them. But those are a couple of big games there, especially Luton and Forest, who are doing really well at the moment. In the Championship, of course, they got a familiar face in the dugout. Blackburn, of course, we all know about who is managing Rovers at the moment. That is Tony Mowbray, who, is a big guy around West Brom. Big figure, and I think probably one of my first seasons, really watching the Albion was during his promotion season and during and also of course the season that was just after that, of course, that didn't go too well. But yeah, guided Albion to promotion in 2007-08 season. He signed some very good players. I mean, the sort of calibre of players that he brought into the club were really, really good. Of course, he brought in Chris Brunt and James Morrison, 2 club legends, still with us at the club now, I should say. Done really legends at Albion, and cannot be understated the impact that they've had on the club. So yeah, Tony Mowbray brought those sorts of players in. James Morrison from Middlesbrough, and then Chris Brunt from Sheffield Wednesday. He was the LMA Manager of the Year in the year that he took us up. So yeah, of course he's also got that player final loss against Derby under his belt at Wembley. Yeah, not a nice day out for any West Brom fans, of course. But yeah, Tony Mowbray, a big figure, played some really nice football. If we remember when he was at the Hawthorns, nice one-touch passing stuff, and really moved us forwards as a club and got us into the Premier League and got us into that mix and helped us sort of lay the foundation for what was to come in that big long stint we had in the Premier League in the 2010s. So yeah, really nice to see him. Well, won't be nice to see him if we lose, but yeah, always appreciate the work that Tony Mowbray did for us as a club and the sort of football that he put on the table for Albion fans to watch. It's a complete parallel to sort of some of the stuff we've seen so far this season. But yeah, doing very well with Blackburn, as I said, third in the table. Their top scorer is Ben Brereton Diaz, of course, declared for Chile just before the start of this season. 20 goals for him. This season so far, doing a smashing job up front and linked with plenty of top division sides, both in the Premier League and also abroad. So yeah, doing really well, Ben Brereton Diaz. Also, Joe Rothwell's another one to watch, really, with 7 assists so far this season, and a fairly weighty amount of goals to supplement that as well. Top assister in their side, so they've got some very good players in there. Blackburn, I wouldn't say there's too many standout names. I wouldn't say there's too many. They are really good for Championship level. They are the best player in their position in the Championship. There's a couple in there, of course. You've got Ben Brereton Diaz, who's one of the best strikers in the Championship. But there's not too. It's more of a team effort, is what I'm trying to say. They're all gelled together really well. Obviously, Tony Mowbray's got them in a very good system that works for them, and they do play some decent football in there, but also pretty solid at the back, which we'll chat about a bit later on. They'll be boosted, hopefully not be boosted, but they probably will be by the new contract for Thomas Kaminski, who is a Belgian international goalkeeper who signed a new contract till 2025 in the week. I saw that come up on my Twitter feed, so I thought I'd just pop that in the video just in case for a little extra knowledge. If you're at work tomorrow, or tell your mates about how you know about that. But yeah, of course. Second in the division for clean sheets, Blackburn doing very well in that position as well. 12 clean sheets in that position. So yeah, they're second for most red cards as well. They've got 4 red cards so far this season. They're joint second. I think I actually put a tweet out about this record whilst I was researching this video about the amount of red cards that are in the division. And I bet you can't guess which team are at the top of it. I mean, that would be a difficult one to guess, but yeah, it is indeed West Brom for the top red cards. They've got we've got 6 red cards so far this season. We are top of that scoreline. Then Blackburn with joint on second with 4 red cards with Bournemouth and Derby County, and then you've got the likes of Stoke, Cardiff, Birmingham, Nottingham Forest, Swansea, all in third place with 3 red cards. But yeah, of course, West Bromwich Albion 6 red cards at the top of the table of the red card charts in the EFL Championship, and then you've got Blackburn just down below with that. So yeah, that's a difficult one to take really for Albion. Of course, we know that discipline has been a real issue on the pitch so far this season, but hopefully that comes under siege from Steve Bruce, and he calms that down a little bit. But let's talk about a predicted 11 for Blackburn. I've just gone with what they played in their last game. Of course, I'm never ever too knowledgeable about all the other clubs in the Championship, but do know a little bit about them. So in goal, I've gone for Thomas Kaminski. Of course, as I mentioned, signed that new contract, Belgian international goalkeeper, one of the better goalkeepers in the Championship, it's fair to say. I think he kept Blackburn in the game, the reverse fixture at Ewood Park earlier this season. So yeah, and then at right back, I think that he's their captain, if I'm right in thinking. I may not have got that quite right, but Darragh Lenihan, who's a very solid Championship player, and normally a centre-back, but playing out on the right-hand side in their last game against Forest. Then a centre-back pairing of Jan-Paul van Heck, who has done a decent job at Blackburn, coming in from the Netherlands. Then you've got Scott Wharton as well at centre-back, and then you've got left-back, we've got Wolves loanee Ryan Giles, of course, spent the earlier part of this season on loan at Cardiff, did a really good job, assists for days that man has got, but yeah, we'll be hoping we can keep in his bay, not only being a Wolves fan, but also, of course, being a Blackburn player that we're trying to beat. But yeah, they've got Zifwick in defensive midfield. He's on loan, I think, from Hertha Berlin in Germany, who of course been who have let him go out on loan, and he's only played a few games so far, but reviews from Rovers fans seem that he's been okay. So yeah, he's a player that we might want to watch out for. Then in the midfield, we've got a sort of midfield 4 in front of the holder. We've got Lewis Travis, who I think had scuffles with Livermore left, right, and centre during the seasons that we played Blackburn previously. Then you've got in there, you've also got Joe Rothwell, who I mentioned earlier, 3 goals, 7 assists as well. And then you've got Reda Kadra as well, who played in that last game. He is on loan from Brighton and Hove Albion. And then you've got John Buckley at left wing, but you could also bring in somebody like Tyrese Dolan, who's a very good, talented young player who's starting to really feel his way through the Championship. And then up front, of course, you've got the wonderful Ben Brereton Diaz, who's been scoring goals for fun this season. But yeah, that's all you need to know about Blackburn. I've been told off in the comments sometimes for doing a bit too much opposition stuff and less Albion stuff. But we'll go on to Albion now. But Blackburn, of course, can play. They will come to the Hawthorns and play. So it's up to us to stop that, and it's up to us to break their really solid defence. So yeah, West Bromwich Albion, 9th in the Championship. Yeah, that's not acceptable, is it? Let's be fair, 9th in the Championship when you consider, well, if you just compare us to Blackburn, you consider the squads. You've got one squad that's perhaps less, not too many star names in that, but you've got a manager who's really cohesive and making them work together and are proving doubters wrong. But you've got West Brom here, who've got lots of individuals who can't seem to string passes together, but we're better in the last game under Steve Bruce in his second game in charge. We're now 4 points off the playoff places. It's looking pretty grim, but of course a chance to make up ground with several of those teams around us losing last time. So 1 win in 9 Championship game, 9 all competitions. Yeah, not a great record at the moment. And Steve Bruce, his second game in charge, I thought he was more fluid against Sheffield United. I thought he was the team were better as a whole. They played a better brand of football, and they certainly went between the lines a lot better than perhaps Ishmael did, where he misses out the thirds in the pitch and played through the thirds really well. But yeah, I think Steve Bruce got that nailed on last time. But yeah, this is a huge game, really. A big game for Albion, one that we really have to win. I think, Albion fans were sick of not seeing the results. I mean, I'm sure that some of us wouldn't mind. I would personally wouldn't mind watching Ishmael's style of football if it meant we got results, but we're just sick of seeing losses, draws, and being unable to break teams down. So a record versus Blackburn is okay. I think, we've got a decent record against them. They've only won once against us in the last 5 appearances together. But yeah, Blackburn last game 2-1 against. We beat them 2-1 at Ewood Park, as I mentioned. I think it was a goal from Matt Phillips and a screamer from Alex Mowat were the goals to separate us in that game. So yeah, I think our record against Blackburn's all right, but yeah, certainly it's a big game. I think in particular for Dara O'Shea, I'd love to see him come back into the starting lineup if he's ready. Of course, this was the game that was touted as his return day. Obviously, got a few minutes against Sheffield United, and nice to see him back out on the pitch. But it's a big game for Albion. It's not a game that we can be easing people in for. If Dara O'Shea is ready, we have to bring him back in, and we have to make sure he's playing because I think he's our best centre back. I really do. So I think he has to play. Of course, you're without Carl Bartley and Matt Phillips, who are confirmed to have extended absences. You got Sam Johnson in goal. I think we're going to go for, and then a back four of Furlong, O'Shea, Ajayi, and Townsend. Defensive midfielder. I can't understand why, obviously Livermore made that decision to go in for that challenge and got himself sent off, but I can't understand why people aren't already calling for Malumbi to start. He is essentially a Livermore with more legs, more positivity, and a better passing range, in my opinion. So I'd put Malumbi in that defensive midfield position. And then in front of them, slightly ahead of them, I'd go for Moa and I'd go for Taylor Gardner-Hickman. He deserves a shot. He was man of the match in nearly all of the games that he played under Ishmael. I feel he deserves his chance and deserves to get the plaudits that he should get, really. So I go for Taylor Gardner-Hickman and Alex Moa ahead of them. And then a front three, 2 wingers and a striker, Grady Dean Garnett, Colin Grant, and of course Andy Carroll up front. Interested to see who the captain's going to be. I've always said O'Shea's future captain material. I wouldn't maybe make him that now. He's literally just coming back from injury. He deserves his time to get himself reloaded and relaunched back into the game. But there's not many captain materials in there. I think it's a difficult decision, but I'll be interested to see who Steve Bruce picks up. I think he put Andy Carroll as captain last time. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what happens. My predicted scoreline for this one is going to be, I keep backing Albion to win, and I don't, ever since I've backed them, I don't think they have won. So I'm going to go for 2-2 at the Hawthorns. I think it's going to be an entertaining game, a Valentine's Day game as well. So yeah, hoping for a lovely scoreline for Albion on Monday night. But that's all we've got time for in this match preview. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new, and make sure you comment your score predictions and thoughts ahead of the game down below. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.